Welcome to In the Groove. In the Groove is a series of podcasts presented by Zombie Wolf Magazine. Interviews with artists, musicians, and the people you want to hear and know more about. Now join our host, Joseph Timmons, in interview this week. Welcome to In the Groove. This is Joseph Timmons, your host, and In the Groove is Zombie Wolf Magazine's podcast, a weekly, now turning into almost a daily series of interviews with some of the artists that you've been wanting to hear from for a very long time and that you should know about if I don't say so myself. Anyway, I'm here with Paul Ranieri. Did I say that correctly?
That's it.
Wow, I got it right on the first try. That's not going to happen too often. Anyway, I'm here at the NAMM convention in Anaheim, the 2015 Winter NAMM, and this interview is actually going to be about two situations. One, it's going to be about Paul's work with Shadow Eden, an up-and-coming metal band out of New York, with Dave Mercado. We've talked about him before. And also about his work today with one of the exhibitors here, Wood Violins. So, Paul, first let's go ahead and cover you as a performer.
Right.
Tell us about yourself, your career, who you're playing with, and your work with Shadow Eden.
Right. Well, I started playing bass around 11 years old, and it's been a crazy ride since then. I've been a professional musician since I was 18. So I've managed to do all kinds of situations, Broadway shows, every sort of rock, metal, funk, jazz situations you can think of. And that's a good thing about being in New York is that you have a chance to do all these things, just to be versatile and just to wear a lot of hats, so to speak. And how I started with Shadow Eden, for example, is Randy Coven, the late, great Randy Coven, God rest his soul, was a teacher of mine, an early teacher of mine. And when he passed away last year, I guess they tried to find somebody that could do all the things that he could do, or approximate do the things that he can do. And so I was on a very, very short list. And so I was very, very happy and proud that they called me. And it just happened at a great time because I had one project finish the morning of, and then that night, Shadow Eden called me. So it was almost serendipitous.
Now, Shadow Eden is not the typical metal band coming out of New York right now. They're actually a very vibrant, progressive band.
Right.
Mostly instrumental work.
Yes.
More ranging along, well, I would say almost a metal version of the work that King Crimson was doing.
Right.
They're being very progressive, very experimental, breaking those boundaries. How does that fit in with your playing style?
It actually fits in great because I was dying to really stretch out more. And listen, if somebody says bass solo, you say, oh, right, definitely. So it works perfectly because it gives me a chance to be who I am and just to say what I want to say on bass, which is what it's all about. I'm just so thankful and happy just to give them the opportunity just to do that. That's the most important thing to me. Just being humble about it and just getting out there, and I go for it. This is my chance. This is the time for me to shine, and I want to do that.
So, what has some of the work been that you've been doing with Shadow Eden? Can you give us a little rundown of the material you've been working with?
First of all, they had to have the release of the CD, the latest CD, Perpetual Motion, out, of course, after Randy passed away. So we've been concentrating on that, and now, of course, as soon as I got in there, I was like, well, listen, I'm a writer too. So we've been starting to work on my material and to integrate that into the Shadow Eden sound. Mm-hmm. So we're still working on it. We have a couple of things up our sleeves that have my input. So I'm very excited about that. And Dave Mercado, bless his heart, has given me the opportunity and says, run with it. Okay, let's try this idea out and let's go with it. So I think you'll be hearing other influences into Shadow Eden's future releases that show a little bit more of my personality. Whatever that's going, whatever that's going to be.
Okay, well, Paul, now to cover the other half.
Right.
Like I said, you're here at the NAMM convention in Anaheim, and you're working with Wood Violins. Now, again, working in that line of progressive, experimental music, it's actually not surprising that you're here with a violin manufacturer, except that if anybody is familiar with Wood Violins, they also, if you can have a progressive instrument company, they've broken boundaries on their own. They're guitars where they do manufacture some guitars that look like, violins. I got confused because they actually sound like guitars. Wood violins, if they have some that are traditional, but they also have some that look like flying V's. They look like the really dark metal battle axe looking guitars, but they're violins. And we're going to have a video on our site that's going to be a demo video of them performing. But I mean, they're playing in the background now, and the violin he's playing looks like a flying V, and it's just amazing sound coming out of it. And he's just warming up, so I'm really anxious to see him perform. So what are you going to be doing here with wood violins?
Well, we're doing a performance with a special guest, Jordan Rudess, who's probably the greatest keyboard player in the world.
And we all know who he plays with.
Right.
If you don't, get some medication, take a rest, come back later.
So we're going to be doing just a few songs, and he's a good friend of Mark Wood's, who's the owner of Wood Violins, and very excited to be here. So it should be a lot of fun, actually. It's my first time playing with Jordan officially in any sort of capacity. So
any idea of what we're going to be hearing when we put the video on, or are you just going to surprise the audience?
Yeah, I think we're just going to surprise. I'm not really sure myself. Which is the way it kind of runs usually.
It's my third day here, but the second official day of NAMM, and the energy's really high. So I think it's going to be a great show, and I think your performance is going to come out wonderful. But we're going to have video to prove it, so you better be good, because it's going to be documented and shown on national, internet, not so national show.
I'm ready, baby. I'm ready.
All right, Paul. Well, thank you very much for being with Zombie Magazine In the Groove. And just to let you know, In the Groove is sponsored by Marshall Electronics MXL microphones, the future of audio technology available today. If you get a chance, go ahead and get to their website, www.mxl.com. or find them at your local retailer. They make fabulous microphones for the studio and live performance. This is Joseph Timmons with Zombie Wolf Magazine. See you on the flip side. You have been listening to In the Groove. In the Groove, sponsored by Zombie Wolf Magazine. You can find out more on our podcasts at this station or at our website, http://www.zombiewolf.com. Spelled XOMBIEWOOF.com. You can also find us at our blog, zombiewolf.blogspot.com, as well as on Twitter, Instagram, and all social media at ZombieWolf. Thank you, and tune in for the next interview next week.